Hi, this is Jurgen Rasmussen. Welcome to the Provocative Hypnosis vlog. In this particular episode, I want to share some case stories of suicidal clients that I have worked with. I think partially due to my reputation working with impossible clients, I have from time to time a tendency to attract clients who have tried everything and not succeeded. So on occasion, a client will come into my office and say that unless you can help me, I'm going to end my own life. This has happened on quite a few occasions. So, for example, close to a year ago, a man in his late 30s came into my office, sat down, looked at me, and said, I've been to psychiatrists for the last 10 years. I've had 2 suicide attempts. I barely survived the last one. I'm never going back to psychiatry. It hasn't helped me one bit. I've been to psychologists. I've done CBT. I only got more obsessed with my thinking as a result of doing CBT. And if I can't get help here, I'm going to end my own life. And I looked at him and I could see that he was completely sincere. And I said to him, and this is something I say to all the people who say this, I said to him, that's perfectly fine. You have the right to end your own life. I'm not a socialist. I'm not much of a statist. I'm not religious. I don't belong to any organization. I don't think that your life belongs to a tribe, to a state, or to a community. I think fundamentally your life belongs to you. You have self-ownership, and that includes the right to end your own life. Do you have young kids? And he said no. So I don't think anyone who has young kids, you owe them to stick around. But so I said to him, look, no matter what you tell me or say, I'm never going to call anyone or actively do anything to try to stop you from ending your own life if that's what you decide to do. Now, he leaned back and got very relaxed because he could see too that I was being completely sincere. And this, of course, builds trust. Now, I said to him, as I also say to other clients in this particular situation, I said to him, what I am going to ask of you, though, is a anti-suicide pact for as long as we work together, meaning that as long as you and I have a working relationship, I want you to commit to and promise me that you won't end your own life. And he looked at me and he said, that's fair. That's okay. I can do that. Now, I looked at him and I said, while I grant you the right to end your own life, I just want to make sure that it's not a case of mistaken identity. Because you're talking about killing yourself, right? And he said, yes, I'm talking about killing myself. And I said, yourself. He said, yes, ending my life, killing myself. I asked him, what's the nature of this self that you intend to kill? If you want to kill yourself, why kill the body? The body is innocent. The body has nothing to do with it. This idea that you have to kill the body to kill the self is not correct. So what is the nature of this self that you want to kill? This self that you want to end or kill, does it exist? Does it exist the way you think it exists? Is it an entity? Is it a process? And he realized that at no time had he, in an empirical, practical way, explored the nature of the self that he wanted to kill. That does seem relevant. So he had, like pretty much everyone, spent his life trying to find security and happiness in a world of fleeting, transitory, and very changing circumstances. Tried to find happiness in relationships, in material possessions, in accomplishments, and did not find the peace and happiness he was looking for in that. So my invitation to him was for us to explore the nature of the self. Like, what is it that's constant in your experience? What is it that doesn't change? What is it that you refer to when you use the word self? So this is something you can do by doing basic self-inquiry and also by doing a particular meditation technique that's often called note gone, where you practice noticing every time a particular sensation or image or thought disappears. Now, for this particular client, and for almost all clients, what's really happening is that they have a lot of painful thinking and feeling going on. And most of this thinking is self-referential, meaning it seems to refer to a permanent, stable entity called a self, right? So it looked as if he was that bundle or that collection of thoughts and feelings. It looked as if he was identical to that collection of thoughts and feelings. Through self-inquiry, he was able to discover that no thought lasts. They come and go. They're transitory. And there's no self behind them. They're not really referring to an entity. And he was able to discover that consciousness itself, his essence, so to speak, was there still every time a thought disappeared. So when he suddenly started to realize and see time and time again that the essence of who he was, so to speak, consciousness itself, did not disappear when these transitory thoughts and feelings disappeared, that had to mean that he's not his thoughts. He's not actually his thoughts and feelings. Now, the interesting thing is he said to me, I've read spiritual books. I kind of knew intellectually that I was not my thoughts, but it was something entirely different to really see, to really have an insight, a realization where it became obvious that he was not his thoughts. He also had the recognition, because he told me that he felt as if he had lost himself, right? And that he wanted to come home. And he made the discovery that whenever the thinking process slowed down enough, that sense of just being was always there. and that it's innately peaceful. And that open, innately peaceful presence or awareness or consciousness or essence is not a thought, is never changed by a thought. And that consciousness itself is already free of whatever problem or thought that seemed to be who he was, but which was never truly who he was. So being able to rest as that open presence and noticing that the thoughts and feelings that looked like a self, looked like who he was, came and went, and that presence did not disappear whenever the thoughts disappeared, more and more created a realization that he was not his thoughts. And as a result, he began spending more and more time as that knowing, as that open awareness. And the depressive and anxious thoughts lifted. So this particular route of self-inquiry has been a very effective one for a lot of people who have had suicidal thoughts and who have thought that the way to get peace and peace of mind lies in ending their life or killing themselves. This is, in most instances, a case of mistaken identity. And it's possible through some inquiry to see through it. This is, I think, kind of a tragedy in our Western psychology, is that we're never asked, who are we essentially, or what is this self, or what is the nature of my experience, or what is it that knows my experience, or what is constant, what doesn't change. So some people here who listen to this may object and say, you crazy bastard, you should call psychiatry, you should leave these people to the professionals, to the psychiatrists. Well, these people are people who have not been helped by psychiatrists and don't want to go to psychiatrists. And B, there's no evidence whatsoever that psychiatrists or psychologists have any special competency in helping these folks. There's no evidence whatsoever that they're particularly effective, or that all the suicide prevention programs that they've organized has made any difference whatsoever when it comes to this sort of stuff. So some of you won't like hearing that, but that's the reality of it. So helping someone have the realization that consciousness is already free of whatever problem that they think they need to solve, and that they fundamentally are not these seemingly painful thoughts and emotions, can be life-saving. And these are insights that are possible for people to have with some good guidance, with a good learning context. So these are useful things to explore. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them wherever you find the video. If my ideas resonate with you and you'd like to work with me as a client, you can reach me at provocativehypnosis.com. That also applies if you're curious about mentoring or hosting a seminar. So until next time, take care.